Hannes, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, seems like we had some sound issues actually. Okay, so guess no one could hear me in that case if you couldn't hear me. So once again, we are watching the final of the Champions of Westeros Summer 2022 edition between Argento and Robert Charvat, and we have Stark Fealty by Argento starting, as you can see, with very bad setup, having to set up Mira and no economy as Winterfell, and we have a much better setup for Robert, starting with the Red Wine Strains and the core version of the Night of Flowers that has usually been replaced recently with the Shadows one.
Yeah, indeed. It's interesting to see that he plays Tyrell Fealty, which is, I think, rarely used because Tyrell has so many other econ options. But I think play tests against Robert against this deck, and again, he builds very many different strong decks. So I'm curious to see how he fares against, I think, one which is probably one of the best decks that Argento can field, start Fealty.
Yeah, it can be fast, but this time starting with that unfortunate Mira, and now we do have Rob for the stand, so with some renown things could go quickly for Argento, but we also have the perfect combination left and right both in play, ready to defend everything, so no resources used on defense if Argento is first player, which at the moment he isn't. And I think the dupe on Mira will be claimed because then any winter plot will send her into shadows where Argento wants her.
It's also an advantage that none of the abilities he's currently on the board is affected by Winterfell, so it's nothing triggered. It's convenient currently.
Yeah, could be stuff in hand. He has 2 gold. Now what could that be in Tyrell? Mono Tyrell, I guess. Growing Strong is the card that can always be used, especially with the Knight of Flowers, who of course wins any challenge alone if you can boost his strength a little bit. There's also new cards that do something very similar. From the latest pack there is Brienne the Blue that increases the strength of characters that attack or defend alone.
I think that should work nicely with the Knight of Flowers. I don't know if he has it in the deck, but seems a good combination to pump him up to 10. And yeah, and there's almost nothing that Argento could have to defend it one-on-one. Unless it triggers Winterfell, of course, there.
Yeah, and the new High Garden actually in this particular deck seems like a really good card because it can choose 3 different characters and then you can pick right and left. And they would both have 5 strength on defense, and the Knight of Flowers with 7 would be stronger than anything Stark can do. He has passed the first round because there is nothing great to be done here with no claim to be taken. But he will concede this one with the stealth.
In these kind of situations, I, in Robert's position, always would have wondered if it's worth it attacking with right to get some pressure on Argento's hand. But then, of course, you have probably power and infection card, which Argento can grab. So I find it always difficult to decide that.
Yeah, I think there is always a worry that Stark will be super fast. And yeah, even in a long game these days Stark is very resilient, difficult to beat. They have that ability to recover with Summer, taking something from the dead pile, and Bear Island Scouts that can replace themselves. Also Robbie is now duped.
Yeah, and he uses the Northern Armory right away. I don't know if he expects Robert to run political disaster with these kinds of economy cards and backboard. Several of the Tyrell locations, I have seen him do that a lot, even if he relies on his backboard. If he has dupes, he will hurt the opponent more. So he might want to get use of the Northern Armor right away.
Yeah, definitely. Smells like political disaster. I think Bounty of Highgarden can work in this deck. If I don't think it's competing with anything else that is restricted. And also the High Tower maybe in the deck, although we don't see much ambush. Usually we would be looking to trigger it in at least 2 rounds. But it is mono Tyrell, so should work on anything. And now what? Bran to be traded for something, and we have Bran the Builder on the other side that can find that third location, which I guess we'll see what it is. I think High Tower and Old Town are 2 others that could be in this deck. And Caitlyn traded for Bran. It's some more protection in one of the challenges against any tricks.
Do you ever play Stark, Mihal?
I have played Stark once, yes, in a tournament. It was in the playtesting tournament for the redesigns. I put all the cards in, basically, and did not do too well with that, but it wasn't a great deck. I just tried to see what each individual card could do with the redesigned version. But other than that, no. I've played Stark in just casual games on the Iron Throne a few times, but not this kind of deck really. I would play some weird shadow stuff with the Tower of the Hand, stuff like that.
Okay.
I don't know, for some reason it does not excite me, and Targaryen is the other one that I haven't played in a tournament really.
Yeah, I can relate to that. So I think the one Stark deck that I built that was okay-ish was a small Cat Prince deck, which I find kind of funny to build, but it's also really good. So if you were to Stark build it, just copy whatever, you know, Argento or Radek build and try to make it work, and wouldn't be anything I really contributed.
Yeah. It's the Stark Fealty has survived, I think, for not since the very beginning of the game, but basically since the Stark box was released sometime, I think a few months after the game started. Have this deck with Core Rob and a few of the others as staples, and just marginal gains with each deck builder.
So interesting. He marshals Core Varus. What do you think he has in mind with that?
It doesn't look like he plans to trigger him with this board. Maybe the deck has Core Marjorie, the 6-cost Marjorie, and then you include 1 copy of Varys just in case. Maybe it saves you the game.
Alright. Be a good idea. Or it might be also you know, measure of last resort. I think sometimes, or maybe often, Argento doesn't play a reset in a Stark Fealty. So if it looks really bleak, you can trigger him, and maybe then, if he has a Valar Morghulis, play it afterwards. It's a matter of last resort. And if Argento really doesn't play a reset, he's also safe. So that's something. But yeah, I'm curious to see what he does with it.
Yeah, I guess he could take the dupes off, but then what happens. Argento, I think he's going to... Yeah, he's already taken one old gate for more draw. And after Varys was triggered, for instance, he would be left with Mira and Rob, and could even just use Skagos to get rid of them, help keep them alive, although that kind of does the work for Robert instead of him. Doesn't really force the Morghulis in that case. Although I think maybe if I guessed correctly and we have Marjorie, then maybe Wildfire Assault is the reset to trade some small lords for big ones.
Mm-hmm.
And also he has the small council trait, which can do something in combination with Golden Grow. I think he is 6 cost, so he can stand anything.
Yeah. True, so depends on whether Robert is preparing something Yankee instead. I don't think so.
Yeah, we'll see if Brand the Builder finds anything. It could be Golden Grow. That will tell a lot, I think. Now this one was stopped by Winterfell, so he can't do the search here. And here comes Rob with the stand. And the two characters are not going to strike again for the military. Yeah, they couldn't really win, and then left and right are left standing. Players have chosen 70 minutes this time, I guess. Safe from any connection problems and stuff like that, but I think we won't need them.
I'll also be surprised if this goes over time.
Okay, trying to kneel some stuff out. Argento can defend with Renown here. Question is, does he use Rob? So Rob is the one that can defend against the Knight of Flowers. And if he doesn't use Rob, he cannot win this to get the Renown. And if he doesn't defend this, then maybe Robert passes.
But if he doesn't defend this, he could use the Knight of Flowers and then boost him with Garland to 7, then he could even beat Rob.
Alright, you could do that, yes. So 1 gold from Garland.
Yeah, so that's
available.
probably why he chooses to get the 2 Renown now.
And that brings him up to 6. Now Jason should have Renown, but he did not take it.
No, it is Skagos and Shadows, I think.
Oh, Skagos went back, right. Okay. And no gold to bring it out. And the Knight of Flowers strong enough. So, Robert hanging in there. Now let's see what the plot does. If anything, so he had 1 trigger already that he didn't do.
Yeah, but he can't use it now because of Caitlyn, so maybe in the last challenge.
Oh, it's all blocked. So 1 blocked by Winterfell, 1 by Caitlyn. So only 1 trigger, even though he managed to win 3 challenges. It's very nicely blocked by Argento, and it is Golden Grow that was found here. So now Varys can kneel. He has the trait, and he can stand the Knight of Flowers. So if the Knight of Flowers is strong enough, he should be able to push military and power through by himself.
Interesting. I like it.
Okay, so where is das trigger? Never mind. So Robert is not interested in playing this Challenger's Phase game against the Stand and the Renown. He's going to reset and go from there.
So do you think he plays some more Gollus right after that to finish it off completely?
Well, he has to kind of, otherwise he hasn't really achieved anything. Rob stays alive. With the pointy end he could have taken power away even without triggering Varys. And Marched is not going to work because Mira can take that. Okay, that keeps Mira alive. She's strength 1, printed strength 1. But Rob will die. And the economy for Robert is set up. He has that Golden Grove, but we don't know about any other cards in hand. And for Argento we know about the Skagos in Shadows.
It probably now really depends on whether he can repopulate sport in the infamous Stark fashion, or his problem on that.
8 gold,
Right.
maybe the Bear Island Scout chain now. Just get 3 characters or Summer. What could he take? He could take a Bear Island Scout even from the discard pile, so yeah, I think Stark will be fine. I have a strong suspicion that Argento has answers. One Heir to the Throne already played. I wonder if he plays 2, because this might have been an opportunity to try to do something with Rob, but maybe since he had the dupe already discarded, the chances of getting it in the top 10 cards were low. Yeah, but here comes Summer, and I think he's going to take that Scout. No, just the Reducer. Very strong Daisy, who of course cannot leave play this round because of the plot. And Sansa without her Renown and without Insight currently. Now plenty of gold, but Robert is on the back foot, at least for this round, where he has no claim.
I'm curious to see how he will come back from this. If he will come back from this. And for example, if he gets more resets, just the attrition on.
Well, Milk and Daisy would be a good start. Okay, so we have Randy. He is not a small council character in this version, And we have that Golden Grow that can stand something. And it can stand the Reducer if he stays alive.
The Reducer will stay off this round. Because big play. He actually probably has to take it to block Renly. If that the next one.
Okay, so Mira has stealth. She can pick a challenge to push past Renly.
Argento said, would you rather have a safe win on intrigue or on military?
I think military to take the dupe off. Depends. So if Renly just does nothing and tries to win one of the challenges. Here we go, Winterfell used here, so it's not going to be used on the challenge where Renly potentially attacks. He could try to get a few cards with his insight plus the reaction. And now Renly is strong enough to beat Sansa and Summer, so yeah, going for the intrigue. So that brings the number of cards down to 2 before Renly's insight.
Yeah, maybe Argento's thinking is that if he does not play a reset, it doesn't really matter so much if Renly has a dupe or not. So you have to just try to attack his hand.
Okay, and Renly defends. Now let's see what he grabs. So he gets Old Town and another card. It's a nice passive power, but looking for characters, I think, at the moment. And Bounty was discarded for reserve, which is not too bad for the intrigue claim, because of course the economy is pretty decent now with the 2 locations. And Sansa's not going to bother, because it's the unopposed, and prefers to take dominance, which puts Argento on 7. And passive power is annoyingly quick if the deck is built for it. So if you have Golden Grow and Old Town, try to do W's and then the 7-cost Mace, and just use him to put stuff on, to put power on characters that you marshal. It's difficult to counter. Although High Tower I think is a great card for that.
Yeah, I'm a Martell enthusiast, and I always dislike when people hate on Thorn, but I feel like Hightower is equally strong, and nobody seems to be complaining that much about it. So that's my personal what I don't understand. Such a good card, and Tyrell makes such good use of it.
Yeah, maybe Tyrell is slightly left alone these days with their mono decks, because we've seen so much of that Tyrell Lion played, which of course doesn't have that great synergy with the high tower, with so many out of action cards. But in this, not this, but in the 8 regions tournament, of course, where Tyrell has to play all kinds of agendas, there won't be that many banners, and maybe we'll see more of that high tower.
Sure.
Now, what is
Oh,
this first now going to do here?
Here it goes back to shadows. That's of course not what Robert really wants. And he gets a mage more material.
Yeah, another one that survives it, so...
So it could have been very strong, but now actually he looks Argento looks strong after that.
And some are going back, not the worst thing. He can just be replayed. Also there is Skagos for later, maybe this round it's not that useful unless he was looking for some kind of dupe from the discard pile for one of the unique ones. Yeah, Stark surviving once again. Doesn't look like there is much economy, but just with that plot and drawing from their locations and with Summer, and it's a really good place here. Hmm, 6 cost mace. Okay. That means he can get an extra card when he needs. He places something on top, so that works with Old Town. The passive power is there, and he is a small council to use with Golden Grow and try to stand Old Town. I think that works. But is he fast enough for that? Argento is already on 7 with 2 Renown in play. Can he bring something else into play that would survive first now? It's a trick that people strongly dislike for some reason, even though it's basically like having an additional Great Hall in play. Used to be non-unique.
Yeah. So I wonder if he also plays again Valadoraris, but with another 6 cards coming out. I almost doubt it. Now he has to send Argento off. See that he doesn't run away with power.
Now, Mace could be traded in theory with Marjorie for another Varys. I suspect there is only one, and it's removed from the game, but that is one thing that can happen with Marjorie always, bringing Varys in challenges. But it's not going to help, obviously, with the dupe on Daisy and Summer in hand.
Yeah. The good stuff would be probably Randall to pick from the deck, right?
Yeah, trading him for Mace. Although you could, of course... Oh, actually no. Winterfell is not going to work this round because Robert has a winter plot.
Mm-hmm.
And Argento not bothering with winter plots at all. Haven't seen any. And he has Winterfell from the setup. Just for the strength increase and for the cancel. Although I would not be surprised if there was a Winter Festival in this deck as one of the remaining 3 plots. Okay,
Robert commits to defending power.
let's do Renown on defense before the Mira trigger. I guess Renly should be blanked to stop the draw and stop the Renown on him. Marjorie, okay. Okay, I guess. Yeah, it's still the rest of the challenges phase, so if you blank her, of course, it's not just for this power challenge. Now, which Queen of Thorns is this? Let's see. The core one, the 7 coster. And we do have the Great Hall with Golden Grow and plenty of econ. Drawing some economy, which is not the worst thing. And now forced to take that dupe off. And Argento is done. He's going to take dominance, which brings him to 11. And then we can see if Robert somehow manages to bring out more stuff to challenge this strong board. We know the Queen of Thorns, of course, is available. And there won't be any Dohaeris from either player. There could be a Wildfire Assault, which would kill Mira here. Although ideally you would play that when you have more than 3 characters, so that Marjorie can replace the little lords like Guard and the Grows that we saw discarded just now. And Old Town missing. Olena's Machinations will be drawn if the deck is not reshuffled, so that gives him an additional power challenge in theory to steal more power, try to equalize, kind of like a Baratheon mechanic with Storm's End recently. But he needs to stay alive for that to happen. Clash of Kings would be good for Argento, I think. Or the Winter Festival. Clash of Kings from the other side, and now Olena's Machinations is a great card, or would be if there were gold. Now let's see, Supporting the Fate will take it, but that's doesn't mean that Tyrell has absolutely no chance of getting gold in the challenges phase. Fealty exists, but not quite enough, so Machinations costs 2, and it is loyal. Mira stays in play this time, and Skagos will stay in shadows if it's still there at the end of marshalling. Now let's see if Winterfell is used on one of the power challenges. What does that mean? I cannot trigger card abilities. Okay, so that stops Clash of Kings as well. Sure, that's where it will be used.
Supporting the fighters of really nice now against the event.
I think the Queen of Thorns is coming. There she is. 7 gold left, so needs to spend it all. Otherwise it goes to waste. Now left and right are both still alive. Do we have the other one? And we don't. Okay, so he could have done this without using Golden Grow on the Great Hall. And here we have Rob that is dead. Everything else still alive, including Fast Eddie. Summer is in hand, so Summer to take Sansa, or Bear Island Scout, or in fact Bran Stark. Here we go. And using Fealty brings in another stand location. And 1 gold still left, could bring Skagos out if he has nothing else. Oh, he has a bodyguard. Okay, so it's a good spot, this. If he can push his challenges back, he should be able to win, I think, with all the renown. The question is, what can Robert do here? Can he himself get anywhere close? Just the 2 renown on the power challenge that we can see. Queen of Thorns could bring something in, I guess.
Go for defense. He just focus on defense, will that make him survive another round, do you think?
I don't think it works with just stuff that is currently on the board. Seems like there is 17 defense in the power challenge. And if Fast Eddie attacks with all the other renowned stuff, goes from 11 to 15.
Yeah. He needs to make something happen. So the Queen will bring in
You're breaking up slightly, Hannes. Can't hear you. Yeah, so not bothered about that Clash of Kings. Just using it on the Intrigue Challenge to stop the Queen of Thorns bringing any more surprises. And I think now even, yeah, even if Robert did the power challenge, Argento can still just win on defense with the renown. and Robert trigger, and looks like we might get a concession. Okay, nothing to be done. And I can't think of a single card in hand that could stop this. Spectators leaving, expecting the game to be over. Yeah. And here we are. So Argento wins the Champions of Westeros final. This is the spring edition 2022. And in the end, no undefeated players, but Argento just losing the one. Oh, against me. Nice. Okay, so I'm the only person to defeat the champion here. And definitely a nice game between two of the best players in the world, and very impressive stuff actually from Robert's deck, but somehow on this occasion Argento had the counters and had his own pressure. Otherwise that deck looked like it was going to gain some very quick power with all the high costers. Okay, so once again apologies for some of the sound problems. That's partly due to the poor connection, and partly due to my stupidity for messing up the microphone at the start. And yeah, thanks for joining us here. I know a lot of you are watching the 8 regions instead, since so many of the community is involved in that one. But if you haven't managed to join us for this one live, I will be, of course, uploading it to YouTube in the coming days. So thanks Hannes for joining me, if you can still hear me.
Thanks as well. I don't know if you can hear me. It was great to be here. Yeah, thanks to both of the finalists, and thanks to everybody who played this season. We look forward to seeing you again in summer.
Yeah, look for the announcements in the coming days. So thanks for joining us, and have a good night.